Hello and welcome. My name is Tara, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the difference between polarity and duality. Now, there is a very slight overlap with the two. I'm going to do my best to describe the differences and how you can be the observer and have the awareness within yourself and within the greater aspect of life to differentiate the two within yourself to further your practice and create greater self-awareness and a higher state of consciousness. Now, the whole point of going into this discussion is to really understand aspects within ourselves, aspects within humanity, where these energies can be brought together more to create a whole, where we can identify any imbalances that are within ourselves or within others. Now, we are facing a very important time in humanity where dualities are becoming very strong. They're becoming very prevalent. Now, this has been around for a long time. This is nothing new, but by understanding this more around what is separating us as humanity, as society, because at the end of the day, we are all one. We are all one. We are all connected. And our energy does influence others directly or indirectly. If you've read the Kybalion, you're going to be very familiar with the fourth principle, which is polarity. The Kybalion is the study of Hermetic wisdom. It's an ancient practice, ancient wisdom that offers us insight into the great mysteries of life, how we can work with energies to create balance within ourselves and to understand life and ourselves in a deeper way. And also, of course, how we can be part of the universe, how we can connect more, not only with ourselves, but with others and be a part of a greater creation, right? So in the Kybalion, the fourth principle is polarity. And it states here, everything is dual, everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. And why this is important to know is because we can become very unbalanced in our own belief system. Now, it's really important to know that there's no such thing as right or wrong. And that's what the Kybalion just stated. And it's really wrapping our minds around that statement that's going to be very beneficial. It basically allows us to let go of the need to be right or the need to prove someone wrong. Everyone has their own beliefs or has their own viewpoint on things. And when we come to a common understanding and can look at other people's ideas and beliefs through an open mind without judgment, then we allow for greater wisdom to occur, right? So when we look at people's ideas and their perceptions with judgment and wanting to prove our stance to be right and to not value theirs, then we create separation and we create an imbalance with energies within ourselves and with other people. And so this is a big issue that is happening in humanity, that is a growing problem because the dualities are separating us more and more. And we become very strong and very opinionated in our stance without looking at maybe the bigger picture or considering other people's viewpoints. And it doesn't mean that we have to agree with other people's viewpoints or where they're coming from or their perceptions. It's just being in a place of understanding and holding the space for them to listen and for them to be heard. And that is the most valuable thing. And I feel that a lot what's happening in society is people want to be heard. They have a voice. This is becoming louder and louder as we're moving on from what I'm witnessing. And because people's voices are becoming louder, they are still met with resistance. Rather than being heard, rather than having open discussion without the fighting and debating, but realizing that everyone has their own right. Everything that we can possibly think of is becoming separated. And we learn through that as well. We will learn and we will understand. And hopefully we will evolve to understand that the more we fight and the more that we argue and the more that we create a very strong stance in our belief and in our knowing, then it's really not, at the end of the day, really going to get us anywhere. It's not going to create a greater resolution or create a greater wholeness within ourselves and with other people. We create imbalances within ourselves when we become very opinionated or one-sided, right? So this is the point of this work, is to become more aware and conscious around these energies and around these differences so that we can become more one and we can develop a greater understanding around life and people and the greater meanings of life in our existence. And so the difference between polarity and duality, I'll now get into this. The dualities are, there's a slight overlap, but I'll do my best to describe the differences between the two. I'll start with polarities. So polarity, you can think of a pole, right? A spectrum, if you will. And on either side is an extreme version of that same spectrum, on that spectrum. So you have hot, you have cold. And in between are different variations of hot and cold. So we may all have a different version within ourselves of what hot truly means and what cold truly means. When does it really get cold and when does it really get hot? Some people have different inner temperature gauges that can withstand extremes, others can't. So it is a variation and a spectrum that we can relate to in different ways, but also in similar ways. And that's why it exists. It exists for us to identify within our own self of the energy within ourselves that we can relate to on either side of the spectrum. We also have day and we have night. They cannot exist without each other. They coexist in perfect harmony. So they are on opposite sides of the spectrum, or on the pole if you want, polarities, and they exist as one, but different sides, different extremes, if you will. So same with masculine and feminine. So even within ourselves, we can have these energies within ourselves that may become unbalanced. So it is really important to understand and identify these energies within us. Where are there imbalances? How can we bring the energies and even the beliefs or the attention into more of a conscious level so that we can integrate more balance into our life or into the way we are perceiving or dealing with certain situations. Now, dualities are slightly different, but a little bit the same. So two separate entities again, but they are not on a pole or on a spectrum. They are completely different. So they exist as completely different entities, but they can come together as one. Where humanity is really struggling right now and is becoming very prevalent is in the duality, and it could be polarization also, right? So polarization could be more, I would say, within self. And when we understand that within ourselves, we can become more whole and more balanced. But also to the dualities within the world is when there's a lot of separation. They can come together as one when they come to a level of understanding and acceptance with each other and with themselves. And so this is where the challenge lies, is how do we come together as one and move the dualities in a whole, in a level, in a scale of wholeness. And this is going to be quite an exercise for humans and for humanity. And I would just say, like I said in my collective shadow video, we can only start within ourselves. And if we feel the need to be right and we need to be heard, and our ideas and our vision and our truth, we have to accept that to be ours, and it may not resonate with everyone. And we have to come to a place of openness and understanding. And also too, the more open-minded we can be, the more we learn and the more we understand and the more wisdom that we gain. So I hope this offered a little bit more insight into the difference between polarities and dualities. Of course, if you have any comments, please leave them below. I love hearing from you all. And if you're enjoying this content, do join me on Patreon, where I talk about topics like this each week in our inner circle. So hopefully I'll see you there. Otherwise, I'm wishing you all the best with your journey and beyond. Until next time, I will see you soon, and take care.